So Beryl continues to jog off to the north now, a little bit of a northwesterly track maybe. Either way, this storm is expected to strengthen into a hurricane. As of the 7 p.m. Central update, the National Hurricane Center still has this as a tropical storm, but the forecast continues for it to strengthen into a hurricane. The water right here off the southeast Texas coast, 87 degrees, 88 degrees, somewhere in the upper 80s, plus aloft, we've got a very favorable environment. That's the upper level winds here. So we've got a bit of a jet streak up to the north of that, helping to evacuate some of the air. A lot of sinking air on the west side of the storm. There's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff to the rain here across parts of Texas. But around that center of circulation, we're continuing to see those thunderstorms develop. There is a bit of dry air that kind of got entrained into this. So that's sort of messing with it a little bit. But either way, the forecast is for it to become a hurricane once it moves very close to the shore late tonight into early Monday morning. We're already starting to feel the impacts along the Texas coast, and then it's expected to maintain tropical storm status through 1 p.m. Monday, eventually by Tuesday, early Tuesday morning, being a tropical depression now near Texarkana and pulling a lot of rain with it to the north. The good news is the model guidance from this afternoon has this thing moving along a lot faster than what it looked like earlier, so that's good news. The bad news is the storm surge starting to go up a little bit. So some areas here along the southeast Texas coast could see surge up to 7 feet. Over toward Galveston Bay, 4 to 6 feet is the official forecast. Corpus Christi Bay also 2 to 4 feet. Here we have a bit of an offshore flow. That helps, but on the east side of the storm, you've got your onshore flow, and that will enhance that storm surge as our storm moves ashore. Aloft, not a lot of wind shear, just ripping this thing apart, but just to the north of that, our jet stream kind of going like this, or jet streak rather, that trough's going to pick up Beryl and quickly really shear it out and move it off to the north and east. Here's a quick look at the local guidance as we move through the overnight. There you go. As it moves ashore, some decent strengthening still showing up here on these short range models. And look at this. These are hurricane force gusts here, at least hurricane force winds potentially possible as it moves ashore. And I think that's because, again, that water right in here is super warm, and it's not going to take a lot for it to strengthen. A clear signal here in the model guidance that everything is coming right in this area. A few miles, 50 miles isn't going to make a big difference with the weather conditions. Either way, you're going to see some decent winds, storm surge that I just showed you guys, and of course heavy rain as the storm gets picked up and pulled to the north by this trough here off to the northeast. Here's a quick look at the GFS from this afternoon. It also has the similar track, bringing it right across Arkansas, shearing it out off toward the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. It may bring some beneficial rain to parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. I don't know that we see it, and here's the problem. It's moving pretty quickly, and a lot of the heaviest rain looks like it will be off to the north and west of these really dry areas that may only see up to half an inch to an inch of rain. Again, the drought monitor has been showing that over the last couple of days. The good news is there is a lot of moisture starting to build here across the East Coast, maybe bringing us some relief here across eastern North Carolina and parts of South Carolina with this precipitable water definitely on the increase. This is measuring the moisture of the entire atmosphere. And it stays kind of humid here too. Maybe some dry air starting to work into the northeast as we head into around the 18th and 19th. So we're still pretty far out on that. Severe weather risk as we head into Monday, it's going to be associated mainly with Beryl. So if Beryl is here, the low, on the east side of this, you're going to have circulation coming in like this. Those feeder bands will likely be the culprit. Now, through the overnight into early Monday morning, the tornado risk would be likely confined to southern Louisiana, southern Texas. But as we move into Monday, that threat shifts to the north, especially as those feeder bands. Let's say Beryl is here. You're going to have these feeder bands coming in like this. We're going to look at the future radar, and I'll show you. I don't know that they'll be exactly there, but wherever they form on the east side of your low, that's where you got to have that. That's where you're going to have that tornado risk, and I think that's what the Storm Prediction Center is highlighting there. As we move through the overnight, the storms across Oklahoma start to calm down. There comes Beryl ashore sometime around 3 to 4 to 5 a.m., somewhere in that time frame, early Monday morning, and then moving ashore. And then there come your feeder bands behind the system and off to the east of it, so really feeding into that low. So watch out here into Louisiana, also East Texas, eventually into parts of Arkansas. As this moves off to the north, the tornado risk will start to pick up as we move into Monday night into early Tuesday morning. And then we're starting to see the influence of that trough here. So we're starting to shear out what's left of the system. We're also, of course, losing the low-level circulation. You don't have the dense thunderstorms around that center of circulation, that feedback loop that fuels these storms. But just a lot of heavy rain now from Missouri back into Arkansas, up into parts of Illinois and Indiana. That looks like the area where we'll see the strongest thunderstorms. If we do see any severe thunderstorms, they'll likely be on this side of the storm as these feeder bands, again, just kind of pull into what's left of the circulation. And some of these are showing kind of strong here on Tuesday. So that will be something to watch, I think, across Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe even as far north as Indiana and Illinois. Across the east, we've seen a few showers here. Some of them have been heavy in the mountains of North Carolina. We've had a couple of flash flood warnings, actually, just north of Boone there. On Tuesday, here comes Beryl off to the west across Florida. Quite a bit of rain shower activity here. Some of the showers start to back down across eastern North Carolina. Not good news, but at least there'll be some moisture around. Some hit or miss showers or storms certainly on the table. Across the west, another hot day as we head into Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. There is a little bit of relief, I think, maybe by the weekend, and we're still just talking about triple-digit heat, but we may not be in the 100 and teens, so slightly cooler. But look at the Pacific Northwest, eastern Oregon, we may be 110 in some of these areas. Way above average. A little bit cooler as we head toward the weekend, but still eastern Oregon pushing triple digits here. Around the Cascades, east and west of the Cascades, highs now back into the 90s versus the triple digits. So a bit of relief, maybe, for the far Pacific Northwest. Either way, it looks pretty hot across the west. Here in the east, it looks temperatures across most of the mid-Atlantic. Another hot day in the low to mid-90s for many areas, even up into parts of Connecticut, Boston. We may get close to 90, or at least I would say west of town. Probably a bit of an influence from the ocean here, but get back inland a little bit, and I think we'll be in the 90s. And then another hot day here along the Ohio River, down to the Mid-South and the Deep South too. Upper 90s may be possible here in the parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Really humid too as we pull in that Gulf moisture here into parts of Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. All right, that's all I got for now, guys. Be safe out there. Again, we're tracking what's now a tropical storm, forecast to become a hurricane. This is Beryl moving toward Texas with impacts north and east of that for the next couple of days. I'll see you next time.